Dr. Danti, Associate Professor in Department of Physiology, Sree Balaji Medical College. I am a physiologist and research scientist with 10 years of teaching experience. Also in research, I have experience in guiding the medical students for ICMR funded projects. I have 8 publications in national and international journals. So moving on to today's topic, that is about the hearing. So when we learn about mechanism of hearing, we should know about the structure of ear. Then we have to know about the mechanism of hearing and about the auditory pathway. And finally, we will be learning about few clinical aspects of the hearing. So moving on to the topic. So what is the structure of ear? So ear is the receptor organ which helps in hearing as well as it helps in maintaining the equilibrium of our body. So how it is helps? So it has mainly 3 structures. So that is external ear, internal ear and in between the middle ear. So external ear is also known as outer ear, middle ear and then internal ear is also known as inner ear. So external ear and middle ear helps mainly in the hearing, that is transmitting the sound vibration, and internal ear helps in hearing as well as maintaining the equilibrium it helps. So what is a normal hearing range for our ear is 20 to 60 decibel of sound can be heard. So more than 80 decibel sound is called as loud noise. So whenever we expose to more than that 80 decibel loud noise for a longer period, it can damage our sensory organ. So it may end up in hearing loss. So the normal conversation which we make will be in 40 decibel of our sound vibrations. So moving on to the structure in detail. So external ear. So the external ear has 3 parts, that is auricle also known as pinna and external acoustic meatus also known as external auditory canal, and it ends with the tympanic membrane. So this auricle or pinna helps in collecting the sound and it directs the sound waves towards the external auditory canal. So this external auditory canal or external acoustic meatus helps the sound to pass towards the tympanic membrane, and tympanic membrane, whenever there is sound waves are passed in the tympanic membrane, it gets vibrated. So this external auditory canal is covered with the skin, that is the external skin which extended up to external auditory canal. So it has the hair cells and ceruminous glands. So the ceruminous glands secretes the wax which helps in protecting the tympanic membrane from external damage. So whenever this tympanic membrane vibrates, it passes that vibration to the inner ear, and that is via the middle ear it passes. So this middle ear has 3 structures. One is it has few bones, smaller bones also called as ear ossicles, and it has 2 smaller muscles, and it has the connection between the nasopharynx and the middle ear cavity. So this middle ear cavity also known as tympanic cavity. So this filled with the air and it is located in the petrous portion of the temporal bone of our skull, and this tensor tympani and stapedius are the smallest muscle. So these muscles are attached with the ear ossicles. So there are 3 ear ossicles, one is malleus and incus, then stapes. So malleus is attached with the tympanic membrane and inner part of the malleus is attached with the incus. The incus is the bone between the malleus and stapes. So the stapes is the smallest bone in our body which attached one side with the incus and other side it is attached with the oval window. So this oval window continues as a membranous structure into the inner ear. So what are the functions of the middle ear? It has mainly 2 functions. One is tympanic reflex and impedance matching. So this tympanic reflex is also known as acoustic reflex and attenuation reflex. So what is this tympanic reflex is about? So whenever we expose to the louder noise or the sound, so this sound when it is vibrated into the middle ear, it causes contraction of the stapedius and tensor tympani muscle. So this stapedius will pull the stapes bone towards outward, and the tensor tympani muscle, it is attached with the malleus bone and it pulls the malleus towards the inward. So it will be pulling both the bones, it causes rigidity in the ossicles. So it reduces vibration of this ossicles. So this causes decreased sound that is up to 30 to 40 decibel. So whenever we expose to loud sound, so this causes reduction in that sound up to 30 to 40 decibel, and so that it will be protecting our ear from the damage. Then impedance matching. So impedance matching also a protective mechanism. So whenever the sound passes from the thinner medium to the denser medium, there will be loss of sound energy. So this is again a protective mechanism. How it acts in our body is, in middle ear it is filled with air, inner ear is filled with the fluid. So whenever the sound vibrations passes from the inner ear, middle ear to the inner ear, it passes from the thinner medium, that is air, to the thicker medium, that is the fluid in the inner ear. So again it causes reduction of sound energy up to 30 decibels. So this also helps in protecting the ear whenever we expose to the louder noise. So other than this, middle ear also has three other functions, that is area differentiation and lever action and buckling factor. So all these factors together helps our ear and protect our ear from the loud noise exposure. Then the inner ear. So this inner ear consists of cochlea and vestibular apparatus. So cochlea helps in hearing and the vestibular apparatus helps in maintaining the equilibrium so that it can maintain the posture and balance of our body. So whenever the sound wave causes vibration in the basilar membrane, which is attached with the oval window, so this stimulates the hair cells that is again in the organ of cortex. Those hair cells are the sensory receptors for hearing. So this hair cells, nothing but it is the modified epithelium which is attached with the basilar membrane in the cochlea. So it has the bony part as well as the membranous part. The membranous part again divided into two divisions with the help of the scala vestibuli, scala tympani and scala media. So the scala vestibuli and scala tympani separates the fluid medium. So this has the fluid which is called perilymph, and the scala media is the space between the scala tympani and scala vestibuli. So this has the endolymph, that is the fluid content in the cochlea. So in this scala media only organ of cortex will be present, which is attached to the basilar membrane. And what about this vestibular apparatus? It has semicircular canals, atricles and sacules which is also filled with the fluid. So whenever we are moving our head, tilting our head, so this causes movement in our neck. So this will be detected by the semicircular canal fluids. So this detects the angular and linear acceleration through the hair cell movements and transmits this changes via the 8th cranial nerve to the vestibular nuclei, and from there the information will be sent to the cerebellum which helps in maintaining the posture and balance. So this is the structure of the inner ear, which has the semicircular canal in the top and then which is attached with the atricle, and finally it is connected together in the saccule. So inside that there is a membranous structure which is continuous and which is having the spiral shaped structure. In that membrane is continued. So where the fluid of endolymph and perilymph is located. So you can see in the B picture. So that is about the how this scala media is differentiated from the scala vestibuli and scala tympani. So in that scala media portion only endolymph is present where the basilar membrane and organ of cortex is located. So how this inner ear functions? So whenever this semicircular canals detects the angular acceleration, this will detect via the atricles and sacules. So this sends the information to the 8th cranial nerve and from there to the vestibular nuclei, which helps in equilibrium and balance. Then whenever the sound vibration is passed into the organ of cortex with the help of the oval window, that is passing the vibration to the membranous part of the cochlea, so which sends the vibration. So this hair cell will be having a stereocilia on top which will be moving according to the vibration. So whenever it moves, it will be allowing the potassium channels to open, that is the mechanical gated channels. So this will allow the potassium to get inside the endolymph. So how this functions in mechanism of hearing? So whenever the sound vibration is passed from the pinna, it will be directing towards the tympanic membrane via the external auditory canal. So this will vibrate the tympanic membrane. Then this vibration will be passed into the ear ossicles on one by one, that is the malleus, incus and stapes, and finally that stapes which is attached with the oval window, the pressure will be causing vibration changes in the membranous part of the cochlea. So this vibration will be travelled into the endolymph, which causes movement of the hair cell whenever it is mechanically moving. The endolymph, whenever it moves, it causes mechanical movement in the hair cells. So the stereocilia is moved, opens the potassium channels. So potassium gets influx and it causes depolarization change in the endolymph. So this will be passing the information to the calcium channels located there. So this opens the calcium channels. So more positive ions are getting inside, potassium also getting inside and calcium also getting inside. So more depolarization is formed. So the sound vibration is converted into the nerve impulses. So this depolarization is passed into the spiral ganglion, and from the spiral ganglion it connected to the cranial nerve, 8th cranial nerve, that is the vestibulocochlear nerve. So from that the auditory pathway starts. So what is about the auditory pathway? So as I told, whenever hair cells moves, it converts the sound vibration to the depolarization change, which will be passed as a nerve impulses in the spiral ganglion. So from the spiral ganglion, it initiates the first order neuron, that is up to the cochlear nuclei. So that is in the vestibulocochlear nerve. So that is 8th cranial nerve, that is the first order neuron. And from the cochlear nuclei, the second order neuron arises. So that is to the superior olivary nuclei and to the inferior colliculus. So up to medial geniculate body in the thalamus. So that is called third order neuron. So from the spiral ganglion to the superior olivary nucleus, it is the first order neuron, and then from the superior olivary nucleus till the medial geniculate body in the thalamus, it is called third order neuron, and from the thalamus that information is passed to the primary auditory cortex, especially in the area number 41 and 42 according to the Broadman's classification. So you can see in the picture, so whenever there is endolymph gets vibrated because of the sound waves passing, so it causes movement in the tectorial membrane and basilar membrane, so where the hair cells are attached. So this causes movement in the stereocilia of the hair cell. So this causes the potassium influx, that causes the chain reaction of further, which converts the sound vibration into the generation of the depolarization. So that depolarization is passed to the spiral ganglia, and from there the first order neuron, second order neuron and third order neuron relays the information to the primary auditory cortex. So that is about the auditory pathway. So whenever there is disturbance in this passage of sound vibration or the passage of depolarization impulse in the nerve, this causes the hearing loss. So what are the clinical aspects we can know from this is, so few disorders about the equilibrium. So whenever there is dysfunction of the semicircular canal or vestibular apparatus, that result in nystagmus, vertigo and imbalance of the body. Also whenever there is fluid pressure changes, the perilymph and endolymph and the fluid in the semicircular canal, so this causes episodic vertigo, tinnitus and hearing loss in the persons. So this is about the equilibrium disorders. Then hearing disorders, we can classify that into sensory hearing loss and the conductive hearing loss. So sensory hearing loss is about whenever there is damage to the hair cells or whenever there is damage to the auditory nerve, that is the vestibulocochlear nerve. So this result in sensory neural hearing loss. So when this damage can happen, whenever persons are exposed to louder noise for the longer period, and along with the aging also it can cause damage to the hair cells. And ototoxic drugs like streptomycin and aspirin, when we take for a longer period with a larger amount of drug, so this causes ototoxicity, can damage the hair cells and result in sensory neural hearing loss. Then conducting hearing loss, so this whenever there is stoppage or obstruction in the passage of sound vibration, so this causes conducting hearing loss. So this is result in whenever there is wax blocks the passage in the external auditory canal or damage to the tympanic membrane, either inflammation of the tympanic membrane or tear in the tympanic membrane. So this will prevent the passage of the sound vibration to the middle ear, and whenever middle ear is infected, so otitis media, in that condition also the vibration will not be passed into the inner ear. And ossicle fixations, so whenever these ear ossicles are not fixed properly, this can result in conducting hearing loss. So with this I will end up this session. So for further reading you can refer these books. So with another interesting topic I will see you all again. Thank you.